Just to begin with, I was reading something this morning by Sterling W. Sill, and here's just an interesting idea here I'd like to share with you. That says that even in our failure, we are totally predictable. The laws of failure are just as powerful, just as immutable as the laws of success. If our goal is failure, we can discover the laws and follow them to reach our objective. More likely, though, we are living those laws by default. That's just an interesting thought right there. Success is both a science and an art. It is acquired only by the personal mastery of each aspirant. Most important of all, it cannot be acquired by wishing and hoping. Wishing and hoping are the mainstays of the laws of failure. And when I read that, I was thinking about hope. And I don't know if you've heard Jim Rohn very much, but he talks about hope, and he says that probably the worst affliction that there is passive hope, where you're just thinking something might come. And just some notes from Jim Rohn. He says, everybody hopes that things will get better. Everybody hopes. Poor people hope. That ought to tell you something. The future does not get better by hope. It gets better by planning and doing. So just some thoughts right there. But one of my favorite phrases is that there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And I think this is just that moment right now. And all of us know that probably maybe once or twice, maybe even 3 times, there's a moment in your life that an opportunity comes by, and if you actually knew that was an opportunity and acted on it, it could change everything. Isn't that a neat thought right there? There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And I'm here just to tell you that at this moment right now, there is a powerful idea, and if acted upon, some great things could happen. I think another self-evident truth that we've all heard and know is that most successful people are just like us, they're regular people, but they saw an idea and they acted on it. And when is the best time to act on an idea? Before everybody else does, and right now too. And pretty much that's what it is. It's just recognizing an opportunity, acting on it, and then when it gets big and they're growing with it, what happens to them? Just everything. And I am here to share with you something that I think is just going to be the next big idea in health. Dr. Oz, he made a comment that just really gets me excited. He said that the future of all medicine is energy medicine. This is huge. And the thing that's really kind of fun with this is actually inside information in a way. A lot of us here have heard about the idea of energy medicine in respect of insoles. About 37 years ago, something like that, well, back in 1975, there was a man who got this idea of more chi, more life flow, all of the body energy. People know about that over in Japan. And if you go to any drugstore over in Japan, walk in, look around, you're going to find magnets. That's just part of their culture, and they use those for health. And also another thing that's really interesting is the feet. There's about 75,000 nerve endings on each of your feet, and there's reflex points that refer to every body system. And so when he came out with this idea of taking advantage of those two ideas and combining them into a magnetic insole, it caught on, and it grew to over $1 billion in sales in around 4 years. And when I first saw this some years ago, it was a magnetic insole from Japan, and it was written in kanji, which I can't read, but I happened to be at a Chinese restaurant, and I asked the waitress to read it for me, and she said, well, that's the medical license number of a therapy device by the Japanese Ministry of Health. And I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. And of course, that isn't something that we recognize in this country, but it's mainstream over there, that this is something that works. Over the years, we were able to share these, could I say, primitive form of magnetic insoles. That they were a big deal. They were recognized by a lot of different things. But in this country, it just kind of came here on a grassroots level, quietly, sold person to person, word of mouth. But it still made a big enough difference where there was some studies done that were absolutely astonishing. But what's happened is a breakthrough in magnetic design has happened, and I've just passed a few of these out to some people just right now, and I'd like you to maybe just share what's happened. Annette, would you mind just coming up here and telling us what happened? I met you about a week ago, and you came to our meeting, and I just put these in, and share your story.
I have diabetic neuropathy, and my feet feel almost 100% of the time like they're being crushed, like the bones are being crushed. And you hear some things on TV about people saying that it feels like bee stings and other things, and I think it feels different for different people. So when mine started out, it kind of felt like my feet were going to sleep, and then it has progressed to this feeling like my feet are being crushed, kind of in vice grips. So I met Dave and Valerie a little over a week ago, I guess it was, and went to their home. And I was telling them about what I was feeling with my feet. And Dave simply put the insoles that they had previous to these ones on the floor. And of course I wanted my feet to look cute when I went out there. So I wore the worst pair of shoes I possibly could. So I was in a lot of pain. And I took my feet out of the shoes and just set them on the insoles. And within about 15-20 minutes, the pain was gone. So I continued to sit there for a little bit like that, and it was wonderful. And then we went to Chili Feed with them, and I had those shoes on, and I still didn't have any discomfort. And I honestly didn't have any more discomfort until the very next evening. So I was kind of waiting for it to come back to see how long, and I probably only sat there for 20-25 minutes with those on. Now, in coming here this morning, Dave gave me the new ones. My left foot was very, very much in pain, especially around my toes, and within 10 minutes, I felt this warmth coming around, and you just kind of can feel the energy. My pain's gone. Completely. I have nothing. So I watched my clock just to see how long that would take, and it was about 10 minutes before the pain completely subsided. And there's none right now at all.
Wow. And she's got cute shoes on.
Yeah, and I got cute shoes on with heels. So, yeah, that's mine.
Wow, thanks, Annette.
You
Appreciate
bet.
that. Wow. So, anybody else got an experience? Dana, why don't you come up?
I'm standing on these. You're not getting me up there.
Come on up.
I feel too good. I just put them. Matter of fact, I was just standing on them.
Here, you can stand on these.
I can dance on these.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. As soon as I put them on, I got major neuropathy to where I stand here. If I close my eyes, I actually lose my balance because I can't feel my feet. My pain's a little bit different than yours. Constantly numb up to the knees, cold all the time, and the sharp needle pains. As soon as I put that on, I'm just feeling just tingling in my feet, and they start getting warm. And of course, one of the issues with neuropathy is your feet feel like they're ice cold even though that they're warm. And I haven't had them numb for 10 minutes, but I noticed that my hips, I've always been getting tight hips, and I found myself actually sitting up straight because my hip wasn't hurting. And so it's just crazy, and I just had a heart surgery, so it's going to be interesting to see if it takes some of the swelling off my feet out of it too. So that's just 10 minutes of experience right here.
Wow.
I ain't getting off of them until it's over.
Anybody else that's just since we've been here that's had an experience? Yes.
I just got home with myself just moments ago, and don't have the pain relief yet, but the energy flow and the warmth.
Would you mind coming up here and?
Absolutely.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. I've got some nerve issues going on in the back.
You can stand on these while you're.
Awesome. And well, as you
okay.
see, the posture.
Maybe introduce yourself.
Jeremy.
And kind of what happened to you?
Well, lifted a 300-pound copier and blew 2 discs out in the lower back and affected the couple of nerves in there, and been pretty much suffering since. Been through therapies after therapies after therapies, and just since I've had these on 5 minutes now, not even 5 minutes, I can absolutely feel the energy flowing through the legs, in the feet, and I can't necessarily say yay or nay, but I had a headache for 3 days. And no joke, the wife knows all about it, everybody knows about it. I don't know if it's ibuprofen I took 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago now, or if it's standing on these, but it's gone. Since I've been here, I had it in the car when I pulled in the driveway. I'm going to attribute it to this, but I'll let you know if it's not. So, very happy and very excited.
Wow. I got to share something with you. Being in the Niken business, it's an education. And Roger Drummer, he's one of my favorite people. How about you?
Yeah.
Amazing. Look him up, listen to his stuff. And I'm always learning something new. Like when I first met him as far as energy medicine, he talked about zeta potential. And that's kind of interesting. And I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but now I've learned a new word. Roger Drummer was giving these new insoles, and his wife is an energy medicine practitioner, and she can actually see people's energy. There's a lot of people like that, and she's one of them. And so when they came in the mail, he put them on the ground, and he says, okay, I want you to take an energy reading of me. And so she did, and then he got on them, and then says, what happened? And here's the new word. Has anybody heard of Ming Men? M-I-N-G-M-E-N. And this is really interesting. Ming Men is considered one of the most important energy centers in Chinese medicine and healing and martial arts. It's located in the center of the lower abdomen, approximately 2 inches below the navel and between the skin and the ventral surface of the spine. It is an amalgam of 2 other important energy centers, Ming Men, with close association with what is called the Sea of Qi. That sounds pretty interesting. And there's a lot of things I can't pronounce here, but Ming Men represents the prenatal sacred yang aspect. It represents, anyway, it's, let's see, anyway, it's really, really good. But when he got on it, she said it was like this, and it just got really big. And so if you want to have a big Ming Man, you want to get these insoles. M-I-N-G-M-E-N. Look it up. That's worth learning more about. But this is so exciting. Now, one of the things I'd like to also share with you is just this powerful concept. Wouldn't it be exciting to have a product that everybody needs, nobody has it, and when you go out to share with it, just very soft sell, very show and tell, and it's something you don't have to. Well, let me put it this way. Before I got involved in Niken, I was already interested in natural things, and Valerie and I were able to even be full-time with a company that had some really sophisticated, I would even say clinical type nutrition products. But as good as they were, when somebody tried it, it didn't happen instantly. In fact, we would tell people to be fair, give it a chance, try it for a month or 2, and then evaluate it. In fact, a lot of the companies that are out there right now, they have a bottle of something, and the whole business plan, the marketing strategy, is to jump in, buy $400 or $500 of a bunch of these bottles, and then gift them. Go out and have people try it. And if the first bottle doesn't make a difference, we'll try another one. And so giving a lot of bottles away and waiting for a month or 2 before things happen, can you imagine the advantage of just getting a set of these and then just going around and magic things happen maybe in minutes? And then you don't have to give a lot of stuff away and wait. Can you see just a huge accelerating factor on this? And when I was in college, I actually took a business class, and it was all about marketing. And the cover of the book had this right here. It was just a big circle and an inner concentric circle with T and then 4 P's around it. Can anybody guess what that might be as far as a formula for successful marketing?
Timing?
Central to everything is timing. Being at the right place at the right time. The 4 P's is the right product in front of the right people at the right place at the right price. And if you think about this, I think this really defines that formula. The whole book, which was pretty big, all it was all about these different factors right here. Another thing that I really enjoy right here is this idea of just evaluating a business. If you think about the variable factors, the right industry, health, is that a good industry to be in right now? Huge. Everybody's thinking about it. If you look at demographics, the baby boomers are all getting older, and I'm one of them. And I don't know about you, but I'm in total denial. I want to fight it all the way. And so that's a big thing right there. So just the industry, the health industry, and the fastest growing segment of the health industry is not drugs and surgery. Is anybody looking to think, that's for me. I want to get on more drugs. Surgery. Oh, I'd really like to have another surgery. And here's another thought: the best way to treat a problem is never get it. You never know what you're preventing. And so, if you went to a doctor and he was a very preventative type doctor, and he said to you, just based on your family history and your lifestyle and everything, I predict that probably in another 15 years, you're going to need to have a hip replacement. But as a preventative, let's go ahead and schedule that surgery next week.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense. How can you use surgery or even drugs as a preventative? And here's also kind of a reality. Statistically, half of the American population is taking medicine right now. They're on a prescriptive medicine. Half of the population. Now, if you kind of think in terms of if you have more of something and it's good, it's going to be more good. But if you look at all of the labels on all of the drugs, pick up any magazine and close your eyes, open it up, put your finger, probably a 1 in 3 chance it's going to be on a pharmaceutical advertisement. And sure, it has beautiful blue sky and pretty flowers and everybody's smiling, but you turn the page over and lots of fine print about all these bad things that might happen to you. That's exactly how medicine works, is side effects. But not a problem, because they have medicine for those side effects too. and so I've heard this said that if drugs were the answer, we would be the healthiest people on the planet. And so I think they have their place. If I had pneumonia, maybe this would help a little bit, but I think the most important thing would be to get an antibiotic and definitely have its place. And I'm really thankful for surgeries and all of those things. But on the other hand, all of these in reality is their crises intervention. And the best thing is not have a crisis in the first place. And that's why I'm excited about the idea of just natural things that help your body have more Ming Man. And so this is the right industry to be in. I think it's a high growth industry. Company. We're representing a company that is unique to anywhere that I've ever seen. When I first heard of Nikan, what got me excited, especially after being with 3 other health companies that I was really excited and gave my heart to, and 15 years of my life, was those companies failed. And when I saw Nikan, I was really excited because it was a privately held billion-dollar Japanese company. And historically, how many Japanese companies are you aware of that came to America and failed? Can you think of any Japanese companies that have made it? Think of all of the different industries that you can, like if you got a piece of paper and sat down for maybe 10 minutes and thought, okay, I'm going to think of all the Japanese companies, and maybe to kind of stir your thought processes, let's think of, okay, obviously automotive. How many companies are there? Let's get into entertainment, cameras, watches, all of the different things that you can think of. There's quite a few of them, and they're dominant. And so when I saw Nikan, hers the biggest industry, health, and can you name any Japanese companies that are in that arena? What's fascinating is pretty much Nikan. And what's really exciting is we can do to health what Toyota did to automotive. We really can. We're in a position, especially with these products. Let's talk about that. I would like to just go on record and say this is a billion-dollar product. This is a for sure thing because the earlier predecessor did $1 billion. This will, and there's just never been a better time than right now. People right now are screaming for answers, and if you can share something with them where they consistently almost get instant results. I've had, as an example, chiropractors. Other people have said that if you can help people with their feet, in fact, a chiropractor told me, he says, if people's feet were healthy, he said he'd be out of business. It almost is that big of a thing. Huge. And I really believe that if you have healthy feet, probably the rest of you is going to be healthy. This is so huge. And again, we're not just talking about feet. We're talking about all of the body systems that reflex to the feet that might be helped by walking around with these. I'm just so excited I can hardly stand it. This is like being a mosquito in a nudist colony. There's just opportunity everywhere. Now, another thing that's important is we want to have a business plan, and we want to have a compensation plan. But you know, the big factor in all of this is just you. What are you going to do with it? Because I would just like to share with you the timing is right, the market, it's absolutely immeasurable, and the product, this is unsurpassed. So if you'd like to do something with your life, this is the moment. And if you act on it, where could you be in a few years if you actively ran with us on this? When I was young, someone told me, they said, if you keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, where will you be in 5 years? And at that moment, I can remember just thinking, well, let's see, the last 5 years, if I just keep doing that and move it up to the next 5 years. And I started feeling very uncomfortable. And right before I was introduced to Nikan, I kind of thought about that again. And at that moment, we lived in a house that, well, we had 9 kids at the time, and so we bought the biggest, cheapest house that we could afford. And we were going to fix it up, and we never had the time or money to do that. And it was just falling apart around us. We had an old car. It was 1976 Buick Estate Wagon, and we just hit a deer, a big one, and pretty much the whole front was gone. A friend came over, and together we somehow got a bumper jack hooked up to pull the radiator back out of the front of the car, and got a new water pump and fan and stuff like that, and chugged around without a front. And I can remember just thinking, I'm tired of living like this. I got pieces of siding missing on my house, live in a dump, got a car without a front. And I thought, for things to change, I got to change. And we got into this and changed everything. And now I just look at this and I thought, I got in way too soon. This is the time to get in this, and this is the time to run with it. But I've got a really good friend that I met through this business, and you've just tried these pretty recently, Thane, and why don't you give your perspective and maybe tell a couple of stories about what Nikan's done for you and some of the people you shared it with and what's happened to them. And also, I want to hear this because you just had your testimony with these too, so come on up. Thane Shively from Eastern Idaho.
It's kind of fun. The mStrides are something that are near and dear to my heart. My first introduction into Nikan was years ago. When I was in my youth, in my teenage years, I actually stepped on 2 nails
at one time.
Yeah, at the same time. They were sticking up out of a board. Ooh. And I jumped over a pile of rubble and everything else, and of course landed all my body weight on my right foot, and those 2 nails went into my right foot. course, that kind of messed up a few things. So you got tendons, ligaments, and everything else. What it did is it actually impaired my ability to walk properly with flexing my toes up. And it actually kept them very rigid and hurt a lot by being able to walk normally. And to compensate for that, what I do is I'd actually turn my foot to the side, and then so I didn't have to move my toes. And then, of course, that would throw my knee off canter, and my hip, and my back, and everything else in general. It wasn't a good recipe. And then mag steps came into my life, and I started utilizing them and things of that nature. And within a 2-day time frame, I recognized the fact that my toes were able to move and flex like they were supposed to in normal walking conditions. And I thought, wow, that's quite impressive, pretty imperative to be able to do that. From that point on, I started sharing it with other individuals. I cannot begin to tell you how impressed I was with the introduction of the magnetic shoe inserts into people's feet and things of that nature, just like you, Annette. You know, the ability to increase circulation to help out with the restorative properties of being able to reintroduce feeling. They're kind of attached. We should probably keep that, right? Anyhow, just recently, Dave gave me a pair of mStrides. Mine are actually in the mail. They're coming right now. I haven't gotten them yet. But Dave says, hey, tell you what, I'll give you a pair right now. And when yours come, just trade me out, or maybe send me a check. I'm going to be honest, Dave, you're not getting them. I'm going to send you a check. But I trimmed them down yesterday and stuck them in my shoes. And the fun part about actually doing that is I could feel something within just a matter of minutes. You know, the mStrides are impressive, but the mStrides equally more so. You know, we actually went for a hike as soon as we got up here. I had an 8-hour drive to get up here. By the time I got here, we decided to get out, stretch our legs a little bit, went for a walk. Doing so in shoes that are not very conducive for hiking kind of put a little bit of a strain on my foot. You know, so I had a little bit of issues there. Get back to your house, just lightly resting my foot on top of the mStrides itself. Within a matter of minutes, I could actually feel something in my foot happening to release and relieve that. And I got to tell one more story if I could.
Oh, please.
And anyhow, his name is Joe. And for over 4 years, diabetic issues as well. Could not feel a thing in his feet at all, period. His feet, his toes completely numb. Just felt a great deal of pressure. That was it. And the interesting thing about it is, in general, his right foot, 3 years previous, he was working, and a fellow coworker actually got very upset and threw something. And he was the recipient of the impact. It hit him in the foot, whatever it was that he threw. Well, anyhow, he physically felt the shifting of his body as it hit him in the foot. It hit him that hard. But as he went home, he couldn't feel the exact pain or the damage that happened. But as he took his shoe off and his sock, it was bright blue and purple and black and everything else in between. And luckily he was able to heal, you know, get over that before it actually turned into something even worse. But he couldn't feel that. He couldn't experience any of that in any way, form, or fashion, even though it severely bruised his foot. And the other day I went over to his house, and I sat down with him and I said, well, Joe, you know, brand new mStrides are coming out, but here's the mStrides, the predecessor. Let's just try something. Let's just put this underneath your foot. I only gave him one. I said, let's just put this underneath your foot and see what happens. And we continued to talk and whatnot. And after a period of about 10 minutes, he said he could actually feel warmth in his foot. He hadn't experienced anything for 4 years. 10 minutes on the mStrides, and he felt warmth. So we continued on for another 20 minutes beyond that. And he said, not my big toe, but the next toe down, I can actually feel a sensation. I can feel as though my foot needs to be itched. So I believe we've got some, you know, the mStrides. I too am going to add my testimony to those that have been borne down. These are huge. They're impressive. I'm going to wrap all of my conversation around these. Foundation, we were talking about this earlier. If you have not the ability to build your life around a very impressive foundation when everything else crumbles. Well, our life is built at the soles of our feet. Annette, you mentioned earlier, how would you feel if those changes didn't happen when Dave shared that with you? How would your life be different? How would it have continued to be more complicated if he hadn't shared those with you?
Well, it would just continue to progress until my feeling would be gone too. And I mean, you see so many people go through the various progression of the diabetic neuropathy, as others in here have different stages of it now. And then, you know, as you continue on with those progressions, then you start to wonder how much of a breakdown you're going to get, and are you going to end up without your feet?
Exactly.
And that's my fear, is to end up in a wheelchair without my feet. So when we're talking about preventative and getting, and as I was telling Dave, 10 minutes, that's faster than any medication I can take orally to help that. I mean, it just sends exclamation points all around right now for me. And I'm continuing to build the energy and the warmth. And it's really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Really exciting.
Absolutely. You know, I don't want to spend a great deal of time talking about this, but diabetes has been hailed as the silent killer.
Oh, yeah.
It literally ravages your body from the inside out,
Yeah.
and from the bottom up. It's kind of interesting how many individuals are born with their extremities and would like to keep them.
Exactly.
You know,
Unless they feel like
Yeah.
vice grips are in them.
Yeah.
And then you might
Right,
think, oh,
yeah.
take them off. They
Yeah,
hurt
get
too
rid of
much.
them. Get rid of them, yeah. Yeah, you know, it's quite interesting. I have a piece of information that actually shows and shares the impact of how to help out with feet issues and things of that nature pertaining to diabetes. And it's really, really fun, because as I call back later on to reconnect with them, they ask me two questions. How much does it cost, and how fast can I get them? So when do people want a cure, an assistance in their major complications? How about right now?
Immediately.
Right now. You know, I was sharing a very simple concept, and it makes perfect sense, Dave. I don't know how much time you want me to talk. I can go on for hours. But the beauty of it is, if you think about life in general, we could become part of the solution if we know how. So there again, it becomes about knowledge. It becomes about education. But if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem by default. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, doesn't it make sense to become educated? Doesn't it make sense to share the knowledge with people who you love and care? Doesn't it make sense to impact society with something that nobody knows anything about? And only we do.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
I'm going to ask you, you took your BMW in for service, and you told
gosh.
me you had somebody you met that's a new on your chicken list, and you called them this morning. Tell that story.
I did. You know, we're actually going to introduce Viggo Madsen a little bit later on today. But the fun part about it is, as I just started to converse with him, talk to him, things of that nature, everything became very relaxed.
Tell us about this guy.
His name is actually Mark. He's a very prominent dentist in the Idaho Falls area. He's hailed as being the only one that actually does sedation dentistry. He'll literally knock you out and then do the work on you, so you don't have to experience the pain while he's working on you. But the fun thing about it is, you know, I mentioned very key things. First and foremost, tax deduction. Dentists have massive overhead and things of that nature. But then I started talking about back issues because of my business card. And he says, yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about. I sustained a fall while skiing. He says, I know that pain. I've been there. I've done that. I don't want to do it again. But the interesting thing about it is I started talking to him about preventative. And the fun part about it is I booked an appointment with him this Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock. And it was kind of fun because he says, you know what? He says, instead of just sitting down with me, how about you meet with my whole staff? So there again, it's all about knowledge. It's all about help. It's all about sharing the idea of aiding and assisting those you care about. Now in his dental practice, obviously, he's going to want to keep his staff happy and healthy. Why? Because that means more revenue for him. So it's kind of fun. Get out there, talk to people. People know absolutely nothing about this. I'm going to agree with Dave. Ride the wave. Multi-billion-dollar product. Here we come. So, Dave, thank you for letting me come up.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And you don't have to be a dental assistant to enjoy a productivity tool. And this is what this is going to be. And if you ever thought about running, now is the time to run. And these are a lot lighter than the former product, so you can run better. These don't add weight. Like them. Wow, in fact, talking about running, Ken Hankins, would you come up and, you've had these for a while. Tell us what you've done with them and just the possibilities. Ken is a friend and former competitor, and now we're on the same team, and thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Actually, I didn't use my mStrides very long, because when I got them, first thing I did is put on my shoes, because I was having some little bit of foot issues. Arthritis, or excuse me, the big A word runs in my family, and I was starting to develop some, and probably mostly due to bad diet. But I'm afraid I'm not very good at staying on a proper diet. So I couldn't wait to get them in. I put on my shoes, noticed the difference right away, and then I was telling first level bronze of mine about them, and she said, "Oh, that's just what Brianna needs." And I said, "Well, tell me about Brianna." Well, that's her second daughter, who is on a soccer scholarship at Cheney at Eastern, and she had broke her ankle a year ago, and tremendous pain, but she still has to play soccer because she's on a soccer scholarship, and she'd get these stress knots in her leg, and I said, "Well, okay, she can have them." So I gave her mine, and I couldn't wait till the convention we got to get some of her own. But how many of you have seen Brianna's testimony? A few of you have. Well, I'm going to quickly read it, and then I'll tell a little bit extra that's not in here. It says, "I just wanted to share some information on the mStrides that I have been using. My name is Brianna Brannon, and I am a college soccer player. I am in the defensive position. I tend to get hit and banged up a lot. Ken Hankins thought the mStrides would help me out, so he decided to give me his pair to try. The first day on the magnets, I realized that I had more energy than I usually have. I also started to see that there was a drastic decrease in bruising and swelling on my left leg from where I had gotten contusions. Waking up from the first night from wearing the magnets, I felt completely refreshed and had more energy than I usually do in the morning. I was even able to hear my alarm go off, which is rare for me, and actually have the energy to get out of bed. Wearing the mStrides during my soccer games for Eastern Washington University, I was happy with the results it showed. My stamina throughout the game was at an all-time high, and I was even able to have energy to talk and communicate with the entire game to my teammates. Also, my mental clarity was improved, giving more time to think and react during intense situations. Wearing the mStrides during my games was like taking a 5-hour energy. I never felt so great and energized throughout an entire soccer game. Before, when I didn't have the magnets, my mental clarity during a soccer game was lacking. Also, my ability to talk throughout the game was gone due to lower level of energy. After using the mStrides, I definitely recommend them to anyone who is looking to increase their energy and overall mental clarity. And then she didn't mention that her pain in her left foot from the broken ankle is gone. And another thing, she used to get stress knots all the time, and the trainers would work and work and work to get those out very, very painfully. And within 4 hours, they're gone. Had the mStrides in. So she's had some really exciting results with the mStrides. Just one of many, many, many stories we're hearing on the power of these mStrides. Wow. And I know that several of you have them in now, and I couldn't wait. Like I said, as soon as we got ours, immediately cut them up and start putting them in my different shoes. But they're fantastic. If you don't have them and aren't using them, you're missing out. And another nice thing about having in your shoes is, in fact, on the way back, I had a pair because we got some at the convention. The President's Club was given a launch pack, and I was wearing my pair on the way home, and I was sitting next to this guy, and got the shoe in the fat, talking to him about it, and started telling him about the mStrides. He started asking me all kinds of questions on it and some other products, and turns out and I said, well, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say, and so forth. He said, well, I am a doctor. Oh, really? He's from East India. I said, have you ever heard of Dr. Naidu? He said, oh, yeah. He says, that name's real familiar. And I said, Dr. Farron? Yeah, that's it. He knew about Dr. Naidu, so he was very interested. So Monday is my day to follow up on him, and I can't wait to call him because he was going to go to my website. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. But this is I remember when we first got the original Mag Steps, and over nothing that we had before, they were dramatic. This is as much of an improvement over those as the original ones were over nothing. So man, it really drove us to being a powerful. We had a lot of stories. It was a lot of fun, and I'd encourage it. By the way, would anyone like a copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay, if you'd like a copy of this, I brought the extra copies here. Ted? Okay, and okay. Yeah, I tell you what, did you just pass them around? Anyway, this is the time to run it, folks. Any questions?
Ken, do you want to talk about the other products in the pack a little bit?
Okay. I can't speak a whole lot on the jewelry because I don't wear it. But the Vital, of course, Vital Balance is give samples of the Vital Balance to other people to try. I did this with a lady that works at my dry cleaners, and she was, we had to put it in a bag. This is much, much more professional. Believe me. And this is the way, and plus, if we're traveling, of course, when we travel, we usually take a can with us, whatever it takes, but this is more convenient. But what I really like it the most for is it's a great way of introducing the product to other people. Now, I know a couple ladies who have been using another competing brand, and they tried this, and I said, wow, this tastes good. Because the others don't. They're also very knowledgeable on how it's also got a real good formula to it. This is a lot better than ours. So, and they're actually, we're getting together with them tomorrow, and they're interested in looking at the business. So who knows where this is going to go. So this is of course, Vital Balance is a home run anyway. I had my Vital Balance shake this morning. I like it, partially because it's fast, but also it tastes good and it has sustaining energy to it. Now, I've done other protein milkshakes because I like the concept, and usually in about 2.5 hours, I've noticed I'm starting to get hungry again. This one, 3.5 to 4 hours before I notice I got to have more food. Let's see. Oh, yes. Headband. Folks, I haven't tried this yet. Has anyone tried this? Have you tried this, Dave?
Just for a little bit.
Okay, all I can say is Kanglotherm's awesome technology, but I have not tried it, and I have no reference to it, or there's nothing to say. But we all know what the technology is. In fact, personally, I think that Kanglotherm technology is even bigger than the magnetics folks, because of what I've seen with. I think most of you have heard stories of people that have gotten a little too close to the flame, or maybe touched a hot burner or a hot glue gun, and the phenomenal things that happened with it. The discomfort was gone within an hour. I have a friend in Australia that is what they call aged care, which means they do entertain older people in rest homes, that kind of stuff. And they do what they call barbecues down here, which is barbecues. Well, someone had turned the gas on the barbecuer and had not turned the flame on. She came along and said, oops, this isn't right. Turned the gas off, waited a half an hour, thinking it was long enough. Came back, turned the gas on, turned the flame on, kaboom. And really did a number, singed her hair, but really did a number on her hand. And they did all the right stuff. They got an ambulance, rushed her to the hospital, they did all the normal stuff. Her husband came and picked her up. By the time she got home, she was in excruciating agony from this, before this flame had hit her. And she remembered my story about the Kinkotherm, and she had just gotten a comforter 2 days before that. So she stuck her hand under it, and she said in a short period of time, she could feel a heat where her hand was, so she'd move her hand, and then the heat would be there, and the rest of the comforter was normal temperature. But it'd be really hot where her hand was. She said, I'm not sure why, I guess it's because it's reflecting that infrared energy. But she said within 10 minutes, she noticed that the discomfort was disappearing. Within an hour, it was totally gone. And the next day, when she came, we were having a meeting. I think she came to, and that was on, I believe, yeah, it was on Sunday that the accident happened. And on Monday night, we had a meeting, and she just had her hand regress. And the doctor couldn't believe it because, and she showed us, no, hand was completely normal color. And except for 4 little spots on her knuckles where it's a little purplish type color, a little darker there. The hair was still gone, but all the indications of what had happened to her was gone, except for those 4 little spots on her knuckles. And she felt great. Folks, I don't travel without a travel comforter in my car in case of an accident. And just because you never know. In fact, when I go on an airplane, I don't know if you know, there's sample comforters, and I carry one of those in my carry-on in case somebody spills hot coffee on someone. You never know. So I carry that for emergencies. So we have the technologies, folks, and nobody can touch us. Yes.
Can you tell us what comes in the kit that they can buy today and the
Launch
value
pack?
of it? Yeah.
Okay. In the launch pack, there were 6 other men's, or I'd say regular or regular size, mStrides, and there were 4 of the small ones. 4 of these. There were 2 Kinkotherm wraps, a full packet of 4 box of 30 packets of the Vital Balance, 1 of the new, what's it called? Marquesa? Yeah. 1 each of the bracelet and necklace of that, and a catalog, the new product catalog. And what's the price on the launch pack again?
15% off of if you bought it separate.
Okay, that's awesome. So 15% discount. And frankly, if I didn't get all the rest of this, it'd be worth it to get the mStrides. I'm so excited about the mStrides, I can hardly stand it. But the other things are good. Like I say, I can't comment on the jewelry. I don't wear jewelry much. But I do have one of the old necklaces. But other than that, I don't wear much in the line of jewelry. But it's awesome.
So is this a good business to be in? Has it been good to you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it has been good. When I got in Nikan, I was financially terminal, stage 4, no hope of ever recovering. I owed the Internal Revenue Service so much money I couldn't keep up with the interest and penalties. And in fact, and we filed bankruptcy, but unfortunately bankruptcy doesn't eliminate tax debts. It only puts it off 3 years. And that gave us a little ease of pressure for a while, and then they come back with more interest and penalties, and it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There was no hope. In fact, the pressure was so great that my health was going downhill. The last 2 years before Nikan came along, I had the flu for 2 solid months straight. And I got so weak I couldn't even cough. I'm firmly convinced I'm only still alive by the grace of God. But then Nikan came along and I started getting on Nikan products and my health slowly started getting better because it was in pretty bad shape. And then I had the flu for 1 month that next year. And then from then on, now when everybody else is down for 2 weeks of the flu, I don't feel good for about 3 days. My energy's down. I just don't feel like doing much for about 3 days when everybody else is sick for 2 weeks. So my health has completely reversed itself. I've just gone the opposite direction. And financially, well, we've got the IRS all paid off. That was really a lot of fun, folks. Like when those guys are all taken care of, and I can buy all the coffee I want. I love coffee, but yes, life has definitely changed from going not knowing where the next meal is coming from, and I can remember. I don't know how my wife managed to put meals together because there was no food in the house. And the interesting thing was, with one exception, the food was always good. To this day, I don't know how she managed to put food, because we just didn't have food. And one meal was so bad the dog wouldn't even eat it. It was really at the time it didn't seem so funny to my wife, but yeah, in spite of everything, where everything was, it's amazing the difference. You have to be all the way on the bottom to fully appreciate being in the other extreme. And I used to think I knew what freedom was. I didn't know what freedom was. And when you're making enough money not only to pay your bills, but to do the things you've always wanted to do and never been able to do, folks, and be able to work when you want to work. If you wake up some morning, you just don't feel like going to work, you don't have to go to work, unless you got an appointment or something. But the freedom you have is fantastic, and that means more to me than the money. I've never been one that. The only time money is important to me is when I don't have it and I need it to pay a bill. but it's nice to be able to do those things, to be free. That's awesome. Besides having the good health, being and not having any pain in the back pocket, in the pocketbook. That's nice. In fact, when my mother, towards the end of her life, she started having some real issues, and we had to take care of my mother the last 12 years of her life. Nikan enabled me to do that. The last 4 years, we had 24-hour live-in care. Folks, that's about $8,000 a month. Now, I could never have done that on a regular job. Even a good-paying regular job, I could have done that. But now, we're able to do that. And I don't know, some of you know that a few weeks ago, my wife had a mild stroke. Well, now I have to bring in help, not as much, but it still costs about $4,000 a month. No big deal. We've got the money to do it because of Nikan. I can't tell you what that's worth to be able to do that. Thank you.
Oh, it's fun to be in a company that changes lives. No, you know what? I'm all. Oh wait, yeah, we've got. We're getting tapped out here quick. Hey, while you're up here, Chris, this is my son-in-law, Chris, and it's interesting how Nikan can change everything, destiny. And so, how did we meet? And tell your story real quick.
I met Dave in Idaho Falls, Idaho, about 2 years after I was injured. I was playing flag football in California with a bunch of college-age guys, and one of them on my team happened to have the spiritual gift of talking trash. He could anger and enrage anybody in seconds. You could just go into a mall and start a riot. But he concentrated on two very large guys on the other team, and they decided to turn it from flag football to Vince McMahon's XFL, full contact kind of stuff. And we're going to kill him, and I figured they wouldn't squash the skinny kid with glasses, so I tried to be the peacemaker. I stood between them, the hands up, can't we all get along? And they went right through me to get to him, and he decided to jump on top of the pile. I ended up on the bottom of the dog pile, with the back of my right shoulder against the back of my left knee, my back broken in 3 places, dislocated stuff everywhere, torn muscles, torn ligaments, neck injury, just pretty much squashed. Went to the doctors. They said that you need to have back surgery immediately because you have a shard of bone lying next to your spine, and if you cough, sneeze, get bumped, roll over in your sleep, it could go through your spine and kill you. But because of your neck injury, your heart and your lungs aren't working right, and if we anesthetize you, you're going to die. So we're going to give you all the pain meds you can take, put you in a body brace to immobilize you, wait 18 months of physical therapy so that all the peripheral injuries will heal, and then we can do the surgery, and if everything goes great, you'll be able to sit up straight in your wheelchair. You'll be in pain for the rest of your life. You'll be on drugs for the rest of your life. You'll never have kids, and you'll probably die in your 30s. So I was 20 at the time, so no good news to be had. So I went through with all the drugs, wore the body brace, went through the physical therapy, and at about a year I had made 0 progress. The muscles that were torn did not heal, they atrophied. The bones that were broken did not reform, they just stayed there. That strip of bone was just kind of floating. I did not make any progress whatsoever in a year. And so at that point the doctor said, you're not a really good surgical candidate because that best case scenario isn't going to happen, so likely if we do the surgery you're going to die, and if you somehow survive you'll be so messed up that you're just going to sue us for the rest of your life. So good luck, try something else. And so I was in California. They told me that if I found something weird, hokey, or even voodoo, that I should try it because maybe it would help me deal with the pain. And so I tried everything I could find in California, and they pretty much invented the weird, hokey, everything. And for the most part, none of them did anything. One very excited Russian doctor actually put me into seizures, which almost killed me. A couple of things, were more relieving than the heavy narcotics and less likely to make me throw up, but nothing was helping my back. In the meantime, my grandparents were introduced to the old mag steps at the Idaho State Fair, and it did wonders for Grandpa's knee. He'd been gored by a bull when he was 19, had trouble with it for 70 years. My grandmother had been a typist for 40 years, and her finger, she couldn't point the same direction with any of her fingers. They all went different directions. And she had major relief from the products, and so they decided that it would work good on me. Unfortunately, I was very familiar with network marketing because of my uncle, who signed up in Amway 7 different times because they kept telling him it wasn't Amway. And we lived next door, so we were the first people to come see the exciting stuff every time. So I refused. I no-showed my grandma several different times, but eventually she invited me to dinner, and when I got there, the table had a bunch of magnets on it and no food, and a very excited magnet guy. He talked me into laying down on the floor. He gave me a rollout. By the time he was done, I could lay flat on my back for the first time since I'd been tackled. That convinced me to buy a MagFlex, the one that goes over your back, and I put that on and I left it on. I borrowed a mattress pad and I slept on that for a week, and then he took it away. But at 35 days, I realized that instead of waking up and taking as many pills as I could until I felt like I was going to throw up, and that would last me a few hours until I would do it again, I realized that it was most of the way through the day and I hadn't taken any pills yet.
Wow.
And so it was a gradual thing, but my pain level went down enough in 35 days that I didn't need any drugs. So I kept wearing the Flex. At 3 months, my back was visibly healing on my x-rays. Doctors that were still taking care of me said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I told them all about the magnets. Says, no, it's probably not that. But I ended up making a full recovery. I've never had any surgery. I'm not in a wheelchair. They said I'd never have kids. I've got 6. I don't know what we're doing. But Niken literally saved my life. And bonus, my very first one of these meetings that I went to on purpose, I knew I was going there, I met my wife. So, Niken,
Wow, I'm excited. Let's see, is there anybody else that's been using the mStrides that's had an experience? Anybody? Okay. I've got a really, really good friend that I met through the Niken business, and that's Paul, and he's a university professor. And since you're here, would you give us your perspective? Tell your story, Paul.
Sure.
I'd really appreciate that. And you've been coming up for, let's see, you've got your shoes off, so
Yeah,
you've been using the
there's a
mStrides?
No, but you said you might have some. I'd love to step on some while I'm
okay,
talking.
you bet. Okay, the last pair here.
Well, you can have them back. I just want to step
Okay,
on
here
them.
you go.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought I felt something here. Thank you very much, everybody. It's really nice to be here in Spokane Valley. I live in Kelowna, British Columbia, and I've been with Niken for 14 years. And what got me, somebody asked me to go to an event. He said 9 times. Eventually I did go. But they had me step on the mag steps, and they did the balance test that we do. And the moment they did, I said, "Oh, this is energy medicine. This is you mean there's a company that's really interested in this kind of thing? I can't believe it." I signed up right on the spot, right away. I knew something about energy medicine, and I thought, oh, it really works really well, but people. How can anybody make any money at this? I mean, so I just stuck with psychology and teaching psychology, and I'm still doing that because that's my mainstay. But once I discovered that we had NECAN and energy medicine, I said, well, I have to learn about how really to do this as a business. Because, I mean, when I didn't think I could even sell a chocolate bar, so, you know, I mean. So I knew this would be a learning curve. So in addition to teaching and research and service with the university, I'm a NECAN wellness consultant, and we're gold on the way to platinum. But Dave asked me, you know, why NECAN for you? And well, I was just thinking this morning, you know, as far as I'm concerned, NECAN is me. Whatever happens with my organization is up to me. So if it expands, that's me. If it doesn't expand, that's me. So, you know, it has to. Luckily, there's a whole bunch of support here, and the testimonies are absolutely amazing. But you know, people can live in the best Cadillac, but it doesn't necessarily make them want to open a dealership. So there's a move that has to take place in your heart, in your mind, so that you get beyond. Well, you never get beyond, but you're always wowed about the product, but you really want to go out and share this with other people, and you want to make this your life's mission. And so this is why I have made NECAN my life's mission, because we have the 5 pillars of health: body, mind, family, society, and finances. Because our 5 pillars of health are stimulated and reinforced by the humans being more training that we have. Because we're the best in energy medicine that there ever could be. Because our product line in energy medicine is so diverse. Environment, fitness, rest and relaxation, and nutrition. Because we have the best compensation plan in the industry. Because our company says right away when you sign up with NECAN, it says, here's what you need to know, and here's what you need to do. It's right there on the website. We have the best training. The field, we have the best, just in terms of remuneration, we have the best, again, in the network marketing field. And I think our NECAN people in our field, I've never seen any place where there's more caring than what we have, because we are, after all, in a service industry. So best in the field. Research and development, well, the mStrides are the very proof of that. We started with mag steps in 1975 with one technology, 3 technologies in the mStrides. And judging from the testimonies that we're getting, unbelievable, just unbelievable. Management, God, you don't have a company that's a 5A1 Dun and Bradstreet company all these years, for 40 years. You don't have that without super fantastic management. Product delivery, product reliability. That, you know, you order a product, it's on the truck the same day or the next day. And it gets there as fast as you want it to get there. Reliability, the products work. I mean, we know that from the testimonies that we've heard. Our mission is to help people. That's what we do. If we're not helping people, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So whatever it takes in your heart to have you open your mouth and make new relationships with people, you do that. That's what we do. I'm in a university setting. People are concerned about intellectual stimulation. There's nothing more stimulating than learning to work with new people, than meeting new people. Yeah, we have We all want to be loved. We know that. But how do you get that? How do you get through to people through the layers of defenses and fears that people have? That's really exciting. It's exciting emotionally. It's exciting intellectually. There's nothing better. And then, of course, yes, the compensation that we get from the company is based on our organization, our organizational size, its structure, and its productivity. So that's really interesting to help to develop that, to learn how to develop that. And it's self-paced. So nobody's going to say, oh, you haven't done this month, you haven't done that this month. Your own pace. You just pace that to whatever's comfortable for you. I mentioned our service ethic before. You know, we have to be driven by our service ethic. The more we serve, the more it comes back. What goes around comes around. So to have it come around, you have to make it go around. That's the service ethic that we have. Recognition. There's no place, there's no company that I know of that is more concerned about recognition and valuing people's work. It's just incredible. And finally, my son said, talk about the Nikan family. There's no family like the Nikan family. So I'm sort of brought to tears, but I guess these final things, recognition in the Nikan family, that people, so many people are looking for recognition for the value that they have. And most places where they work and people that they hang out with is not designed to give them recognition. We in the field and at Nikan, we really care about recognition. And that's because we care about our Nikan family. So Dave asked me just to say a few things. These are the things I care about. And yeah, I'm beginning to feel some warmth in these mStrides. So thank you very much, Dave.
Wow, the dawning of a new era. Are you with me?
Yep.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how many are with me? 10. 10? All right, well, let's go for it. Hey, Teresa, just one new guest that came in that went to the convention. Would you like to just kind of give your observations of Vegas?
Of Vegas?
And also the mStrides, if you've had an experience.
Well, I haven't used the mStrides myself, but I have had
Come on up here.
play with them a little bit.
Yeah, tell us what you think about everything.
Well, as always, Nikan has great products, and their research and development is, 100%. So you can always just know that what they're doing is going to give us something a little bit more special than what we already have. And the mStrides, you can just put your feet on them and actually just feel that energy. You don't even have to walk on them, play with them, but just hang on to them. They're flexible. They go in any shoe. There's no reason why anybody can't use them. And if you don't want to use them on your feet, take them out and put them on your back, or take them out and put them on your neck. I mean, there's just all kinds of ways to use it. And then as far as the necklaces, they've made these energies to marry with our energies of our bodies, which is really, really important. Working with energy medicine and working with sound therapies, our body has a resonance and a vibration that really is looking so that all of the electrical circuits can match up and work together. And that's what all these products do. So as you get one and you get another one and you get another one, you just get this whole energy field that just pretty much can encompass by putting something on your feet, wearing something on your wrist, something on your neck. Now you've basically got your portable sleep system on the go. You take it with you all the time. So again, Nikan was fabulous. We have the Vital Day Balance packets now. You can take them on the go easier. This stuff's phenomenal. So I just encourage everybody to use it. Get something on you, use it, share it with somebody else, because they do work. Everybody here needs these products, every one of them. And so when somebody said, what should I get? Everything. There isn't one part of you that doesn't need it. And if you live on this planet, you need it. So it was a great convention. I really, really loved it.
All right.